Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Data Science webinar series. This is our 5th episode. We've had a lot of fun with you over the last several months. This is going to be a 5th of 6 episodes. We'll be doing one more in December. We'll have more information on that. Today, we're going to be having an introductory presentation on Tableau, which Manjeet is going to walk us through. The 6th episode is going to be on an introduction to Microsoft Power BI and analyzing and visualizing the data. We would love for you to sign up for that and see it in a couple months. As always, a recording to the webinar will be available. You should have received an email this morning from our marketing email with a link to Tableau if you wanted to follow along, as well as an attachment with the data set that we're going to be analyzing. If you did not have a chance to do that, feel free to follow along afterwards with the recording and learn a little bit on how to use the system. As always, if you have any questions, please type them in the chat box or the Q&A box. And we love seeing your questions and getting to them at the end of the presentation. Today's presenters are Tom Marlow. He is the CTO here at Black Hills IP and the president of Black Hills IP Renewals. And Manjeet Rege. Manjeet is the director for applied AI at St. Thomas University. Hand it off to you, Tom.
All right, thanks, Justin. So welcome back, everybody. Or if this is your first one, welcome, glad to have you here. As many may be aware, most industries these days are definitely being impacted by the advances being made in computational intelligence, data availability, and data science tools that they all can help us leverage the day-to-day work that we're doing, and the legal field is really no exception as far as impacted industries goes. We've talked in previous sessions about some of the data gathering, machine learning, and the importance of visualization most recently. Today is going to be quite an interesting one as we get a firsthand view into one of the tools used to analyze and visualize data. Quick description, I'm not giving it enough justice. We'll see a little bit more in just a second. I've got to say, one of the core principles at Black Hills IP is in embracing of technology to assist our people and to empower our customers, from big data tools to complex expert systems to process automation, artificial intelligence, and data visualization, kind of along that whole gamut. These technologies are the future of our industry, and the more we all learn and embrace these things, the higher we can push the bar for quality, for speed, for effectiveness, all great things. Okay, so I'm excited to have Dr. Rege back once again to share his expertise. Manjeet, glad to have you here. And I understand we're going to be taking a look at Tableau today.
Yes, thank you so much, Tom. And I'm really happy to be back and welcome everybody in the audience. In the last two webinars, we spoke about some of the do's and don'ts about data visualization. We established the power of visualization. We thought about, we have spoken about things that we probably should not be doing in visualization, bad designs, for example. Now, with all of that said, we thought that in the next two webinars, we should get a little bit hands-on with two tools that are widely used in the industry to implement some of the things that we have talked about in the previous webinars. One of those two tools is Tableau, which is now a product by Salesforce. And the other tool that we'll talk about next time, that is going to be in December, is Microsoft's Power BI. So when you look at this chart here by Gartner, it is showing that the top two tools out there are the ones that we are going to be talking about. Each tool has its own capabilities. They are also similar, but we thought instead of getting into some of the other tools, why not talk about the market leaders today? Tableau, the reason I personally like it, have used it for a while, is because it emerged from academic research at Stanford. I think the project that they had that time, they had called it Polaris, was the name of the uh, non-commercial academic version of the software. When it was commercialized, it was called Tableau. A few years ago, Tableau was purchased by Salesforce. And so now Tableau is part of Salesforce. Tableau comes in various flavors. There is Tableau Public, and that is the link that we had sent you for downloading and installing. Tableau Public is completely free for you to use. Then there is Tableau Desktop, which has few more capabilities in terms of connecting to different data sources, but also Tableau Desktop is able to get your visualization out. If you're using the free version of Tableau, that is Tableau Public, it allows you to create visualizations, but you cannot take the visualizations out. And then there are some other tools as well, like Tableau Prep for data cleaning and preparation, and Tableau Server for enterprise deployment. So that is going to be our focus today on Tableau, and the next time on Power BI. So without wasting any more time, let me get into Tableau. So on my computer here, I have Tableau installed. So you can see Tableau right here. So if you have it installed, you might have a shortcut, or maybe from your start menu, you can fire it up. The data set that we have shared with you, which is this one, Superstore, that, I'll explain what that is as well. And that is the one that we are going to be using for this hands-on webinar. Our goal is to create an interactive dashboard using Tableau. So if you fire this up, the first screen that you should get to is this particular one. On the right, you see links to a number of training videos in Tableau, and I think that is a great repository of a lot of small tutorials. So, at the end of today, if you have an idea about doing something in Tableau and you don't know how to do, I think that's a great resource for you to use anytime. On the left over here, you see these are the different data sources that you can connect to. So if I click on this more, this shows you all of the different data sources widely used in the industry out there. So you could be using Teradata, you could have Splunk, things that you might have heard, Databricks, Hadoop right here, Salesforce, SAP HANA, Google Drive, Google BigQuery, you name it, and it is here. And this list has kind of grown over the many years that Tableau has been around. With every newer version that comes out, you'll have a way to connect to your data source. So bottom line is, if you have data lying somewhere, no matter where, you should be able to connect to that data and import that within Tableau. The data set that we are going to be using today, that I mentioned earlier, this one, Superstore data set. So let me open that up. So this is a publicly available data, and I think one of the sample data sets that Tableau provides as well. So this particular Excel file has 3 sheets inside of it. If you look at the bottom here, you have orders, you have returns, and you have people. In the orders, right? So these are the transactions. Each of these are line items. So this is one item, this is another item, part of the same order, because the order ID is same. And then you have regular attributes like order date, ship date, the segment of the customer. You have a product category here, and some of these we'll be using. The state where the transaction has happened, the sales amount right here, profit. So we have a lot of attributes, and that's a good thing. Before you start any activity, whether it is machine learning, AI, or building an executive dashboard, it is always good to become familiar with the data set first, explore that a little bit, and then bring it into the tool. So with that overview of this data set, let me go back to Tableau, and I'm now going to be bringing this data set in. So on the left, where it says Microsoft Excel, because our data set is an Excel file, let me click on Excel, and this file that I showed you earlier, I am going to be opening that up from Tableau, which means now it is getting imported in. Now, on the left over here, you see that I have made a connection to that particular data set. And then when I showed you this Excel file, at the bottom, you saw that there were 3 sheets, right? So the tool currently does not know which sheet do you want to import, because you have 3 sheets over there. So it just lists on the left, but it does not know which one it has to import, which data it has to import from these 3. So we know we want to use, let's say, orders. So I'm going to click on that and drag it and drop it over here. So here, now what you're looking at is a preview of the data. If you know what a table join is, and I will not get into that today over here, but those of you who know what a table join is, you can also do a table join. So if I now hold down returns and drop it over here, basically what we are trying to do is joining the orders and returns, because if you look in this data set, you have order ID, and then returns have an order ID. So if I join these 2 tables, I'm getting to see only those line items that have been returned, right? As a result of this joining. But that is not what we intend to do. So I'm going to click on this and remove and go back to my entire data set. So now I have both returned as well as the non-returned with me over here. Let me close this one out and pull this one at the top. This, as I said, is giving you a preview of the data. It is showing you the top 100 rows that exist in this data set. Every tool tries to become as smart as it can so that it can, take away some burden from the analyst. So one of the things it tries to do is it tries to recognize the column types for each of the columns that you have. So profit, discount, quantity, you see all of these column names. At the top, you might either see this ABC or this pound sign, or you might see this globe icon, or you might see this calendar icon. So what that is the tool is automatically recognizing what the column types are. So if you have a pound sign, which means that this is a numeric attribute that the tool has recognized. If you have an ABC, so if you click on that, you see it's a string type, which means it's a text category. If you look at this globe, which means it's a geographical attribute, the tool already knows that this particular column contains zip code. Here it contains state. So by default, it will show you a map, because that is the best way you can show that particular attribute. Similarly, if you have a calendar icon, which means that this column contains date. Now, that is important because if I click on this and I notice that that particular column, which actually contains dates, is being looked upon as a text, as a string, then that can create problems for me further down, because here, when the date is in MMDD, let's say YYY, and if it is treated as text, only text, then I cannot ask interesting questions. I cannot say, show me sales by quarter. Well, it doesn't know what a quarter is because it is just looking at that as a string. Show me sales by week, by year. It cannot do that. But because it is recognizing that column as a date, you can make sure that you do that kind of analysis. So the tool has recognized each one of these, but let's say the tool makes a mistake. Can I change the data types? Certainly, right? So when you click on this and you see right now it is recognizing sales as a number in decimal, but for some reason, let's say it gets it wrong, you can of course change it and make sure that this check mark is at the right place. At the top here, you see this live and extract option. What that is with live, you are maintaining a connection with the data source at all times. So let's say you're doing a demo and you want to show the latest and the greatest data, and you click on something in your dashboard, it will bring in the latest data. But because you're accessing live data, there might be lag over the network. And as a result, there could be some delay in refreshing your dashboard. On the other hand, if you click on this extract option, now what happens is Tableau creates this Tableau data extract. That data may not be the latest data, but because it has already pulled the data out and you are working from that Tableau data extract, the access during demo might be the fastest, but but you may not be accessing the latest data. So that's the difference between live and extract. I can perhaps quickly show. So if I keep it on extract, and if I at the bottom click on this sheet 1 over here, so, You see, now it is creating this Tableau data extract. Let me save this. And now if I go back to this data source, here it says that I'm working on a Tableau data extract, and this data is that particular version. So if you think that your data has changed, then you might want to go in and refresh this, or perhaps, work directly on the live data, if you're not concerned about lag, for example. So, all right, so that's that. Now, at the bottom over here, you see there is this sheet 1, and then next to that, it says new worksheet, right? So right now, because I already have a sheet 1 available there, I'm going to click on this sheet 1, and I arrive at this particular blank canvas. So this blank canvas is where you'll be able to create your visualization. On the left here, the tool has already split up the attributes of the data set into 2. The numeric ones are being shown here in green. The categorical ones are being shown here in blue. So Tableau likes to call these dimensions and measures. So what you are aggregating over is right here. What you're aggregating by is here. So let's say you wanted to look at total profit by category. So total profit by category, what does that mean? You are aggregating profit, but you're aggregating by category, right? So these are categorical. So these kind of decide the level of aggregation that you will be applying whenever you bring in something from here. Here is an example of that. So if I want to know the total profit that I have, which means if I go to this orders column here, if I want to know the total of this particular column, I can take this profit attribute and I can just drop it over here. And you see that number is the sum profit. So this is the total profit. So the total of that entire column. Now, right now, I have not brought in any categorical variable, because the moment I bring in a categorical variable, the level of aggregation is going to change. Right now, because I have not brought in any categorical variable, the level of aggregation here is entire column. But the moment I say, okay, I would like to have category brought in here. So if I double click on category, now you see you're still summing profit, but you're summing profit by category. So which means you're first forming the groups, that is furniture, office supplies, technology, and then you are summing within that. So that is an example of how when you bring in something from here, that is the categorical, it changes the level of aggregation. Let me clear this out. So if you look at this X option over here, it will clear out everything and we are back to our blank canvas. So what I want to do is I want to create a visualization that shows total profit by state, right? You have here the different states. So what if I want to get an idea about which states are profitable and which states perhaps are not as profitable? To do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on this state attribute. So because it already recognizes that to be of a geographical type because of this globe icon, you see that globe icon. So if I double click on state, by default, I get a map. So this map has a bullet or a mark at every state wherever there has been a transaction. So now that you have brought in state, if I bring in anything from here, that is now going to be aggregated at that state level. So if I need to, let's say, calculate total profit by state, well, I've already brought in state. So now, if I bring in profit, it will automatically get aggregated by state. So this particular part that you're looking at is called the marks card. So here you can specify where or what you want profit to be assigned to. So I can assign profit to size, I can assign profit to color. So what if I assign profit to size? Let's say I take profit and I drop it on top of size. So now you see profit has been assigned to size. Now these bubbles that you're looking at, if you have a bigger profit, the size is big. If you have less profit, like Idaho, like Montana, the size is small. Well, what if you have a loss, like Ohio here? That is confusing, isn't it? If you have a smaller profit and if you have a loss, both are being shown with a smaller size. So bigger the size is a profit. Smaller the size, it is confusing because it is showing both less profit as well as a loss. And that is why using size is not a great thing right now for showing profit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this, drag it out and drop it over here. And I'm back to where I was. I'm now going to go back to profit. And this time I'm going to drop it on top of color. When you drop it on top of color, when you look at this legend on the right, you see that negative side has been shown using orange. The blue has been shown using, the profit has been shown using blue. So very quickly, when you look at this, visually you can make out that, okay, I'm profitable here, I'm not profitable here, right? The intensity of the color, so blue over here, darker the blue indicates you're more, that profit is more. Similarly, darker the orange indicates that loss over there is much more. So this is helpful as opposed to what I had before. Another thing that I would do is I would like to make this legible. That is, okay, I'm getting an idea about where I am profitable, where I'm making a loss, but can I help people figure out what these numbers are? Because I don't want people to be, just looking at every state and then reading the tooltip over there. What if I put a label here about what the profit or the loss is? To put a label right here, I can take profit, drag it out, and put it on top of label. So now you see each one of these has a label, right? So I'm going to maybe name this. So at the bottom over here, I'm going to click and say rename, and let's give this a name called profit by state. So that is good so far. If we want to, format this a little bit, that is, if you want the labels to be bigger, you can do that as well. But I wouldn't right now, in the interest of time, do that. When you look at this data set, order date has 2014, 2013, 12, 2015. And when I look at this visualization here, this is right now giving me a total for all of the years, right? It is not giving me for one of the years. But what if I wanted to have a look at the profit and loss by year and not for all of the years? For that, we'll talk about a filter. But before we talk about a filter, let me show you how do you export this out. So let's say you are doing this as for a report that you're working on. Now that you have created this, you can export this out as an image. So if I go to worksheet and say export as an image, all right, so that is good. And let me store it over here. So that got exported. Let's quickly peep in. Here you see profit by state. So if I open this up, how cool is that? Right? So this is a image that you can embed in a report that perhaps you're working on, right? So I was talking about adding a filter for year. So I don't want to look at all of the year's profit, but I want to look at profit by state by year. And how does one do that? So you see order date. So if I take order date and I put it in filters over here, this is asking me, okay, we recognize this particular attribute to be of date type. What is it that you would like to filter on? Well, we would want to filter on years. Fine. So let's select that. And these are all of the years available. Do you want all of them? Yes, we want all of them. And we'll say apply. We'll say okay. So this filter appears over here. So if I say show filter now, on the right, you see this filter appeared here. So now you can customize this filter. So if I click on this drop down and if I go to this customize option, I don't want all years to be shown, let's say. And I don't want this to be like a checkbox, but what if I want this to be like a slider? So now you see, as you slide through this, this is changing, right? So that is one good thing for analyzing. Okay, now another thing I would want to do is I want to create a new worksheet. So let's go to the bottom here, where at the bottom you see where it says new worksheet, or you can also go here and click on new worksheet, whatever works for you. So new worksheet, I now have a new canvas. So this worksheet is right here. This is a new one that I'm creating. And I'm thinking, I might do something like, let's say, sales by category. So at the top here, you see columns and rows. So what columns is what is it that you want to plot on the x-axis? So I am envisioning this to be a bar chart with categories on the x-axis. So I want to put category here, and I want to make this as a sales by category, right? So my other option was here is going to be sales. So let me grab sales and bring it over here. So this is a bar chart, and the labels, if you have them, they should always be legible. Sometimes you get cramped for space in the dashboard, and if you, let's say, don't have enough vertical space in the dashboard, but you might have more horizontal space. One thing you can do is you don't need to have vertical pointing bars. You can have horizontal pointing bars. So if I go here to swap, and if I click on that, I end up having a horizontal pointing bar. So let me make this larger a little bit, and I want to give this a name called, let's say, sales by category. Now, once again, this is the total sales for all of the years. This is not showing me by year, but I had added a filter to this earlier worksheet. That filter only remained over here. That filter is not over here. Well, what if you wanted this particular filter to also appear here? Well, one option is I can create a new filter all over again, but a better option is I'm going to set this filter at a global level, which means I am going to go here and say, apply to worksheets all using this data source. So if I select that option, and if I come back to sales by category, this filter automatically appears. So now, once again, that filter appeared over here. Once again, I can customize it. I can remove the all. Once again, I can do and have this as a single value slider. And now this changes. So now we have two worksheets. Let's create a third one. So now that we have sales by category, how about we create a new one? And I'm going to name this perhaps profit by category. And let's do something similar. So let's do category, drop it over here. And now you see that filter appeared automatically. And let's take profit and drop it over here. I'm going to make this a little bit large. That filter, we want that to appear here on the right. So let's do show filter, and we want this all to go away, and we want this single value slider. So this responds to our filter. Great. So we have three worksheets so far. Now, you see this show me option at the top, which I have not mentioned so far. What that show me option is it will tell you what are the other ways I can visualize this particular worksheet. So currently I have used profit. I have category in this worksheet, right? So this is telling me that, okay, you have a bar chart, but you could also be showing this data with a bubble chart. And this is not a great design, but the tool is just giving you options about showing this data in different ways. You could, if you want, also do a pie chart. And those of you who have attended our previous webinars know that a pie chart is not one of the good designs. So we'll go back to our bar chart, but this is just something I wanted to show, that the tool gives you the option to visualize that same data that you're currently showing in different ways. So I want to have these vertically oriented. So let's place it this way, and I'm going to close this out. Okay, so we have 3 worksheets. Let me create a 4th worksheet, and let's do one more bar chart. And this time, what I'm thinking we can show is, instead of doing sum, how about we do average? What if you are interested in looking at what is the average discount we are offering by category? So I'm still, when I'm envisioning what to do, I'm still thinking, okay, I would want to have category 1, category 2, category 3, but what I want is the average discount that we are giving. So I still want category here in columns. Here though, I'm going to now place discount, but notice when I grab discount and as I'm placing it, it is showing sum as the default aggregation function that it has assigned. Well, we don't want the total, right? We don't want the total discount. We want what is the average discount that we have been assigning to each of these categories. So I can change that. So I can click on this drop down and I can say, I want to change from sum to average. And now you see that each one of these is the average discount for that particular category. So let's give this a name. This is average discount by category, and this filter appeared over here. So now we have 4 worksheets. We have, and of those 4, 1 is a map, 3 are bar charts. Let me show you a stacked area chart. And to do that, let's think about how a stacked area chart could be used. So what I'm thinking is I want to show sales by month, right? So what I want is on the x-axis I have month, and on the y-axis I'm showing sales. So if I want month on the x-axis, I'm going to take order date and I'm going to place it over here. And then I'm going to take sales and I'm going to place it over here. But I'm going to click on this drop down And here you see year, quarter, month, and again year, quarter, month. So if I select this particular month like this is showing me the total. So this is showing me the total sales for all of the years. So for example, for the month of March, this is for all of the years. Well, what if I wanted this by, let's say, timeline? So I want a time series on the x-axis. So instead of selecting that month, if I select this month, now you see on the x-axis, you have it by year. So you have January, February, March, April, May, June, July. And so basically, if I show this with all the years, you see you have all of the years over here. But had I selected the earlier month option, which is this one, then you see the total for all of the years for that particular month. But if I select this month option over here, then you end up seeing a timeline on the x-axis. Now, this is a line chart, and you can, if you want, convert this into an area chart. So I'm going to select this option. So that's not much of a difference so far. But here is where the difference is now going to happen. I am now going to take consumer segment, right? So we have that segment over here. And I think segment has consumer, corporate, and home office. I'm going to take that and drop it on color. And I'm going to take segment and drop it on top of label so that there are labels on each one of them. So now you see, if you select that, if you select this, and in addition, if you have the years to select as well, so now you're looking at each of these segments, and that is also reacting to the year getting changed. But notice this is a stacked area chart. So how you read for the month of October for home office, well, where it ends over here, that is home office, right, for October. But you have to be careful when you read anything about that. When you have to read for corporate, which is right above that, notice that it begins over here and it ends over here. So that is why for corporate, it is actually only 24,000, but actually where it ends is much, much higher. So that is stacked area. So let me give this a name. I'm going to name this sales by segment by month, and that's my fifth worksheet. So now that I've shown you bar charts, a map, a stacked area, let me show you a scatter plot. What if you wanted to create a scatter plot with sales on the x-axis, profit on the y-axis? So I'm going to take sales and plot that on the x-axis, which is my columns, profit, and I drop it here. Now, no surprise, you end up seeing just one dot on the screen. And the reason you are seeing one dot on the screen is because what you're plotting is not sales versus profit. you're plotting the sum of sales versus the sum of profit. So which means you are plotting the total of the sales column and the total of the profit column. And that happens to be right here. Now, what if you didn't want to sum, but you actually wanted to look at every single transaction that has happened? So you want to plot this value and this value, this value and this value. So that is, you want to tell the tool, do not aggregate for me. What I can do is I can go to analysis over here, and where it says aggregate measures, if I uncheck that, now you see you only have sales versus profit. You don't have the sum which I had earlier. So now every single sales versus profit that we had is right over here. But let's turn that on. That is, let me go to analysis and turn the aggregate measures on. So I'm back to where I was. So I have some sales, some profit. But I want to now show this data, that is sales versus profit by customer. So I want to aggregate all the sales, all the profit for every customer and show it as one dot on the screen. Well, I can take customer name, and if I bring customer name and let's say drop it on top of color over here, now for every customer, you have one dot on the screen, right? So you're not showing every transaction. If I have a particular customer like Hunter, for example, and if with Hunter, let's say we have had 10 transactions, we are summing those 10 transactions, sales and profit, and showing it as one dot on the screen. But here's the one bad thing that we are doing. Look at all of these colors on the right. This is not a good thing. We don't want every customer to be assigned to a different color. All right. So if not this, how about I try this option? So what if I put it over here? Well, once again, the level of aggregation is correct. You have Hunter right there. But do I need to show all of these shapes? I don't. So this particular option over here, that is detail, is a much better option. So if I take customer name and assign that to detail, now I don't have a different color for every customer. I don't have a different shape for every customer. And this looks a whole lot better. So this is sales. So let me give this a name. So this is sales versus profit by customer. All right. And now we have what, 1, 2, 3, 6 worksheets. So in the remaining time, what I'm going to do is I am going to create a dashboard. So at the bottom here, you see this middle option, new dashboard. Click on that, or you can go here and do new dashboard. So dashboard is where all of the worksheets can come together and they can interact with each other. So I'm going to first go to the size option and change it from a fixed size to an automatic size so that it resizes automatically. And these are all of the worksheets that we have created, right? I'm now going to be bringing in worksheets into the dashboard, and let's look at how that interactivity plays out. So this map that we created, let's drag that and drop it over here. So right now, this is the only worksheet and it is occupying the entire space. You see that small check mark? It is just to tell you that you're already using this one up in the dashboard. Let me bring in sales versus profit by customer. So if I bring that in, so I have the option of dropping that to the left, to the top, to the right. So let me drop that to the right for now. Let's bring in sales by category that we did. So let's bring that in, and I'm going to place this at the bottom over here. All right, and you can of course resize these. Next to that, I want to place, let's say, profit by category. So again, I'll get that, place it here, and then maybe a good one right next to that might be the average discount by category. So let's bring that and place it next to that. All right, so we have these three. And the sales by segment, let's get that in and perhaps place it over here. Now, I would like to make proper use of this particular space. So what I can do is this legends, these three legends you see, they are occupying some space. So let me select this legend and I'm going to say, make that as floating. So then I can move this legend out. Make this one floating as well. So we can move this one out as well. And then if I have this filter floating, that way we can get more space. If I move this one out, this space clears up and you just get a lot more space. So now let's find a good home for all of these. This one actually I don't need, so I'm going to remove this. This filter is good and this one is good. So let me resize this and let me place this one over here, and this filter, I'm going to place it over here. Okay, so our dashboard is almost ready. One thing that I need to do is I need to make sure that our dashboard is interactive. So currently it is not interactive. So if I click on something here, notice that these are not reacting. So to do that, make sure that this worksheet is active, first of all. And once that is active, in this drop down where it says use as filter, if you select that, use as filter, and now let me enlarge this into the presentation mode. You click on Texas, you can now see customers in Texas. You can see sales by segment by month in Texas, sales by category in Texas, profit by category in Texas, average discount by category in Texas. So similarly, you click something else, you see this reacts. So not only can you now select a state, you can also now select a state, and now you can step through the years as well. All right, I'm out of time, but hopefully you guys had fun. That was Tableau for you. Next time we'll dive deeper into Power BI and hope you guys can join us for that. Over to you, Tom.
Thanks so much, Manjeet. This is such a useful tool for pulling insight from data. Thanks for walking us through this. I'm excited for the Power BI one. At the next session, I know that's one that we tend to use. Here at Black Hills, we're constantly doing analytics on our data sets. That could be for internal productivity and improvements, or for like projects for some of our customers, analytic-based ones. And we'll use an off-the-shelf tool like this, or sometimes we have to get into custom software. But you know, the point of this series and this presentation today is to help make clear that this work can be approachable. And if you're interested in leveraging your data or public IP data, tools like Tableau, and in a few months, what we'll see out of Power BI can be used pretty easily to help get you started. Find a project, a question to be answered, and see if you can build a visual to help you get to that answer. My one piece of advice is that when working with data science tools like this, the result of the analytics, the visualization, doesn't have to provide the final answer that you're looking for. It doesn't have to necessarily get you to the finish line. There's a lot of nuance, as we know, in IP. And if the analytics gets you, say, 80% of the way there, that reduces your data set, reduces claim sets to read, trademarks to review, and that's already an incredible value. So don't expect, at least going into it, to have to kind of get all the way over to the finish line. Let's see. Manjeet, there were two questions that came up. And the first one is, when reading in Excel data, can Excel data be read by text color? So is that like a data point that can be imported in if you've got, say, cell or text colors as part of your data in Excel?
Oh, no, not to the best of my knowledge. So I think what the question is if there is a color in the cell, will that be imported as an attribute? And no,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's trickier. It seems like a more kind of custom Excel item. All right, then there is a question, maybe this is getting into the details, but someone's looking for a filter slider on the window to the right side of the screen. Let's see, left, right. Why don't I see the filter slider on the right side of the screen using the public download on a Mac?
I think that was probably a technical question about, while we were doing it, I think that question might have come up, I think.
Okay, all right, sounds good. All right, that sounds great, Manjeet. Thanks so much. This was great. Love diving into these tools. Looking forward to the session next time.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.